This video is sponsored by Ubisoft and Heroes of Might and Magic Era of Chaos.
Sit back, get ready, here it comes.
Fingers!
Hey everybody, Peebs here! In the last video I did, this video, I reviewed my old top 10 Zelda games list. And in that old video, I was very harsh on Twilight Princess. So I just realized I have this headphone in my ear, and I don't know why. I take it out now. I've since come to appreciate the game a lot more, but recently I was watching some other top 10 Zelda games lists, and I noticed that a lot of them also place Twilight Princess pretty low. So what the heck is going on? Is Twilight Princess underrated now? I feel like it is. I can't keep track of all this stuff. Stop changing your opinions. I don't think that it should be underrated though, but it's been so long since I played it, it's kinda hard for me to say. So I'm gonna play through the game again to refresh my memory, and maybe I can make up for my old terrible Twilight Princess opinions by making this new, hopefully not terrible Twilight Princess video. And with any luck, I won't have to make another video in 8 years to make fun of the opinions I had this year. There once was a young man named Pingus. With the help of his trusty steed Pongus, Pingus is tasked with saving 2 different worlds. And collecting bugs from a weird horny princess person? That too? The legend of Pingus and Pongus begins. One of my main complaints back in the day was that Twilight Princess was, quote, too dark and, quote, has no colors. While it is noticeably darker both in theme and graphically, especially compared to the previously released Wind Waker, to say that it has no colors is pretty stupid, honestly. If anything, it's just a little bit desaturated. Personally, I wouldn't mind if there was a little bit more saturation and contrast added. In fact, I'm a little bit curious to see what it would look like. Huh, it's not that bad. I think I might actually prefer it this way. That's a little bit too much. Come with me and you'll be in a world of pure saturation. Is this a joke to you? But even the darker themes in no way detract from the game. If anything, they're part of what makes Twilight Princess stand out. Who could forget these crazy creep-ass cutscenes with evil Pingus? That's plural, multiple Pinguses. And multiple lifeless bodies of Ilia floating around set to evil laugh sound effects. Seriously, what the heck is going on with these? Who decided that this was a good idea? I mean, it undeniably is a good idea, but still. It also makes for perfect thumbnail material, so I'm definitely not complaining. In the same way that they committed to the cel-shaded, cutesy style of Wind Waker, they really committed to the more realistic style here. Redeads are more lifelike and freaky, the Arbiter's Grounds pose look like something straight out of a horror movie, and even the Great Fairy, instead of being cartoonish or over-the-top terrifying, is just a naked lady. A straight-up, topless woman with wings. Excuse me, I feel like you're being a little bit forward here. If ever you need my assistance again, visit any spring. I'm so mature, I know. I definitely appreciate the darker and more realistic tone a lot more than I used to. One thing I enjoy about the game that I've always liked about it, though, are the dungeons. Personally, I think that Twilight Princess has some of the best dungeons in the entire series. Not only is the theming excellent, the spooky Indiana Jones-ness of the Arbiter's Grounds, double claw-shotting your way through City in the Sky, and a water temple that doesn't suck. That much. But I also feel like it has some really solid puzzles that force you to think outside the previously established Zelda box. I'll always remember the first time I played the game as a teenager. There's a part in the Goron Mines where there's a place blocked off by this big slab. It's obvious that you're supposed to go through there, but it took me forever to figure out what I was supposed to do. I thought I was supposed to blow it up with a bomb, so I spent a long time trying to time the bomb throws to blow it up. That clearly didn't work, so I tried every other freaking item I had. Nothing was working. Then I spent even more time wandering around in the dungeon seeing if there was anything I missed. I think I eventually gave up. I had school the next day, and I had already been up till like 4 in the morning or something. What was I supposed to do though? You swing your sword to cut the ropes. You just press A. That's it. I guess technically I was playing on the Wii, so it would be more like, that was what I was supposed to do. That. A couple other examples. There's a switch in a room towards the end of City in the Sky that you clearly need to pull with a claw shot, but there's no way to reach it from within the room. Instead, you need to go all the way back up to the previous room and hang down back into the room with a switch in it in order to reach it. And in the Temple of Time, there's a part where you need to place a pot on a switch so you can break the pot once you move past the open gate in order to lower the second gate without being locked out. I feel like I didn't explain that very well, but You just play the game and you'll see it. It's not always push the block into the block hole. Or there's an unlit torch. I wonder what I should do with that. Oh, okay, light it with fire. Makes sense. There's still some of that for sure, but you're forced to use your head and look around your environment a little bit more, which I appreciate. One thing I definitely don't like about the dungeons though, specifically in the HD version, all the chests with the freaking stamps! I don't want the stamps! Give me something better! This is how I feel every time I get a stamp. Just this face. That is me! Everybody make sure to check out my new post featuring Zelda and Link crying because their pet chicken was killed by this creepy alien chicken, coming soon to a Miiverse near you, sponsored by Malomart. Okay, but for real though, this video is sponsored by Ubisoft and Heroes of Might and Magic Era of Chaos. You can download the game for free with a link in the top of the description. Heroes of Might and Magic is a high-level strategy game that returns to the classic Might and Magic universe with a brand new genre and art style. With over 7 different game modes, Era of Chaos has something for everybody. And I don't mention high-level strategy lightly. This is a very difficult game to master, and strategy is 70% of what you need to win. It's not just about having the biggest army, you have to think about stuff like placements, morale, pre-battle grid formations, etc. Help Queen Catherine Iron Fist reclaim her throne by recruiting over 20 legendary heroes and leading your armies across literally hundreds of story missions. These armies can get pretty crazy with more than 80 types of units like classic fantasy standbys, griffins, and knights, but also golems and bone dragons. You heard me right. Bone dragons! If you don't want to play alone, you can even form alliances with your friends by creating guilds where you can chat, play together, and even share gifts. You can even go to war with other guilds in the very appropriately named Guild Wars. Heroes of Might and Magic Era of Chaos is available to download on both iOS and Android. So make sure you check out this strategic twist to a classic franchise by downloading the game with the link in the description below. Thank you. I know Zelda games aren't really known for their combat specifically, but I actually really like the combat in Twilight Princess. I think it might even be my favorite Zelda combat system. I'm specifically saying it's my favorite and not that it's the best. Breath of the Wild, in my opinion, has the best combat. It's not even close, really. In that game, you can pull off some pretty insane stuff if you put in the practice. You can do combos and stuff. It's almost like a freaking fighting game. But unfortunately, I don't really like or care about fighting games at all. What I do care about is looking cool. Why else do you think I bought all of this Arthur merchandise for?
Alert, alert. Children's character detected. This video is no longer COPPA compliant.
Please make your fine check of $42,000 written to the FTC and delete your channel. Thank you. Twilight Princess's combat, while much more simple, does indeed make you feel pretty freaking awesome. For one thing, unlike Wind Waker's fairly lackluster combat, there's a lot less waiting around to press A at the correct time or waiting for enemies to finally stand back up again so you can attack them. But on top of that, as you progress, you can unlock a handful of special combat moves that are incredibly satisfying to use. They're rarely necessary. I remember beating the game back in the day by just Z-targeting and smashing the attack button over and over. I guess it was more like wiggling my arm around since I was playing on the Wii. But if you do end up using them, it is a lot of fun. But by far the coolest part of the combat system is when Fingers does that epic sword sheath thing. And speaking of awesome, this version of Fingers is especially awesome. More specifically, he's mega buff. Right at the beginning of the game, he has a giant goat running straight for him, and he stops it dead in its tracks. Okay, well, he stops it dead in its tracks first try, as long as it's someone else other than me playing. And with that epic goat stopping, the legend of Mega Buff Fingers begins. And it's not just goats. Twilight Princess Fingers can carry and throw this giant ball and chain item. He wrestles Gorons, and he can even climb across long ledges with just his fingertips for an unlimited amount of time, like some kind of ninja warrior contestant. Alright, a little less epic than Ninja Warrior, but still. How the heck is he doing this so easily? This is not easy to do! Even as a wolf, he's buff. He takes his face and smacks people with it. He just smacks his face on them until they're dead. He can even hold on to ledges with his paws. I'm 99.9% positive that this is impossible. I'm pretty sure if I threw my dog at a ledge, this would not be the end result. 3, 2, 1. Have I mentioned how many weird characters are in this game? What the heck does this have to do with whether Twilight I love weird characters in Zelda. They give the game so much personality. Can you even really call a game a Zelda game if there's no clown? And Twilight Princess has 2 clowns, which basically makes it twice as good. Don't even get me started on the Ukus or whatever the heck they're called. Demon chickens. There's the capitalistic man-baby Mallow. That guy that's turned into gold because he was greedy and he sucks. And Agatha, the supposed bug princess who's so weird I basically started making videos about Zelda a long time ago just so I could talk about it. I do not think it's a stretch to say she is sexually attracted to bugs. It's pretty much her entire character.
Lil Stag Beetle, your spiky pinchers are so sharp, they must feel so good. Lil Grasshopper, I'd like to tickle your belly all day long. Lil Snail, just once I'd like to take a bath in that slime.
And I guess that's pretty much it. I can't think of any other weird characters. Ah, jeez, not this guy. All right, what do we got here? Huh. Nice. Good. You know what? You know, maybe, yeah. You know, this is good. So, is Twilight Princess underrated? Having played through the game again, I feel like yes. I feel like Twilight Princess is kind of in that phase of a Zelda game's lifespan where everyone kind of forgets that it exists. And I get it, Breath of the Wild is out now and it's shiny and new and different, but I feel like a good chunk of Zelda fans, myself included, kind of miss the old traditional Zelda format. Tell me I'm not the only one. Or maybe it's just me. You let me know in the comments. Sure, Breath of the Wild is an exceptional game and I love the open world, exploring stuff and all that, but the longer it's out and the more I think about it, the more I realize there's a lot of things I've always loved about Zelda that are either barely present or just straight up absent from it. Playing through Twilight Princess again has really been a treat. I genuinely enjoyed it. In fact, I didn't even get around to talking about all the stuff that I wanted to talk about. Midna is by far one of the best Zelda companions, if not the best, and she's probably the one with the most character development too. It's cool to see more main story characters that has a direct personal attachment to, like Ilia and the kids from Ordon Village, and the soundtrack, which you've been hearing some of throughout the video, is way better than I remember it being. Midna's Lament in particular is a personal favorite of mine. I swear this song could make literally anything depressing. Maybe I'm just not a very critical person, but I don't even have that many things to complain about the game, honestly. I mean, the tier collecting segment was kinda dull, I guess. One of my only big complaints about the game is, kind of ironically, one of the old opinions I had from the Top 10 Zelda Games video that I keep making fun of.
The world itself was just naked.
Yeah, just look at this. Just look at all this nudity. But I was kinda right, I think. There's plenty of things to do in the game, and the main story stuff is especially solid, but I would have enjoyed a lot more Majora's Mask or even Skyward Sword style side quests. Most of the extra content comes in the form of collecting bugs or pose and mini games. And there's quite a lot of mini games actually, almost too many. I mean, none of them are particularly bad, but find all the cats? Is this really a minigame that we needed? Alternate idea, a save all the cats from being abducted by alien ghosts side quest. That I would have liked. Maybe it'll be in Breath of the Wild too, who knows? So I definitely rank Twilight Princess much higher than I used to. In fact, it's probably, it's up there in the top for me. I'm just saying. So I hope you enjoyed looking back at Twilight Princess with me, and I hope you enjoyed this year's Zelda month. And if I haven't convinced you that Twilight Princess is good yet, how about this? There's a puppy! This is the best game ever! What the? Sorry, puppy, every man for himself! Hey everybody, thanks so much for watching. Hit that like button if you enjoyed it really helps me out. And what do you think? Is Twilight Princess underrated? Or are there any other Zelda games you think are underrated? Let me know in the comments. I was in a Zelda video with Jeff that just went out today, so go check that out if you are so inclined, or check out one of my other videos. I'll see you guys with a new video soon. Bye-bye!